The eighth track on From a Capo to a Dawn was Fuck the Trap. And essentially, it was one of those first tracks for me personally as the artist who created the track that featured a very powerful message. Really powerful. None of my previous tracks had ever had that. A lot of them were, before Fuck the Trap, were about my personal life. And this one was actually too, but it was more about my personal beliefs regarding relationships, and those beliefs were totally opposite to what most people hold. They still are to this day totally opposite to what most people hold. Because most people usually most people usually just follow the relationship formula without noticing that they are essentially being played by a feminist society, and they do not realize it, and they lose a lot of stuff in the process. Women use men usually a lot, and that sort of stuff. Back then I actually named it the MGTOW Anthem of 2015. MGTOW standing for Men Going Their Own Way, as I was an avid preacher of that lifestyle. Eventually after that I noticed that that lifestyle had been changing for the worse. That is something I'm going to explain in the future as I continue this series called Perspective of the Artist. And basically fuck trap. What does the name even mean? Like, fuck the trap. Obviously it's taking aim at something, but what is the trap? The trap is something me and a couple of my friends came up with, and it essentially demonizes the relationship way of life. That is the trap, as we call it. What does that mean in context, like in practice? Well, if you are in a relationship, then you are in the trap. The trap of normal life, the trap of not realizing your true potential, of being alone. That was the trap. And I was essentially taking aim on the track, fuck the trap. I was essentially taking aim at every single one who chose to preach that lifestyle. So, this is the FLP for Fuck the Trap, and in this section I'm just gonna explain what I did with production wise. I'm not gonna go into detail with mixing, since this is a pretty mix heavy track. I didn't do a lot in terms of production, but I did a lot in terms of mixing. Or actually I didn't do a lot in terms of either, but actually I like to think that I did back then. When I wasn't that good at mixing back then. It was 2015 when I made this song, and it's 2017 now, so yeah, anyway. It starts with the pad. The pad, we all know if you've ever heard the track. It starts like this. Yeah. And it samples Drake's Trust Issues. Just to point that out. If any of you thought it was familiar, that's why it samples Drake's Trust Issues. That pad is the Calm Down pad in Nexus. Just the basic pad. I didn't do nothing to it. I just used this plugin for it, and I got that out of it, and it worked pretty well. So then we get into the bass line, which is from an OVO pack on... where was it? Watch me find it. There we go. This bass line. It's just the basic bass line on made on Silent, and it's from the Silent preset pack. Not the Silent preset pack, the OVO preset pack, since I didn't know sound design back then, so I had to do that. Anyway, moving on to the drums. Yeah. It has that ringiness that comes from not this kick, or was it this kick? The same ringiness, and it comes at certain parts, so it has essentially total 3 kicks layered and 1 snare, which is the snare everybody has at one time, even at one time, has heard in their life on a hip hop track. It's featured on every single track, anyway, almost on every single track. Well, not every single track, but it's a pretty common snare. Even if you don't know a lot about these instruments, you probably heard this snare if you listen to hip hop, and especially club hip hop, since it's what I would call the clubby snare. Anyway, moving on to the section called pre-verse 1. I was going for that pre-hook, but then I figured let's do a pre-verse 1. Anyway, it has another pad that sounds like this. It has that really eerie vibe. It's also from the OVO preset pack on silent, of course. And yeah, basically that just layers the original main melody pad, as I've called it. So then we move on to the next section where these mysterious chords start to appear, and you can tell there are 3 notes being played at the same time, because these only have 2, so technically these are chords as well, but kind of like manipulates the track in a way, because it adds these chords in that are not the same as these. So this is not a layer of these 2, it's actually separate. And you can hear I've done my own production right here, so this is not in the original Trust Issues track, it's just something I've done. Yeah, anyway, figured I'd add my own flavor to it, so that's what I did. So then we move on to the guitar, which is basically from Nexus, of course. And wait, that's the pad. Let me find it. It's the lead guitar 1 from XP Guitars, which is the what I would call, not the DLC, this is not a game, but the add-on for Nexus, and it's the lead guitar from that. And basically, yeah. So then we move on from the guitar. Then we got hi-hats in this section, but they're pretty basic. I haven't done anything to them. Yeah. Those trap hi-hats. So then we move on to the hook, where I've automated a chorus effect and I've automated a stereo effect. And it's basically just less is more, basically, with that mentality, because it has a lot more effects but with less instruments playing during the hook, which is a technique I tend to use a lot. So yeah, so then we move on to verse 2, which just continues with the same vibe as verse 1 until the end, basically, where we move on to the less is more part. And this is just the low pass on pretty much every single instrument in the track, done manually right here. I've automated a low pass filter on the EQ. So that creates that underwater kind of effect. That's basically it. And then it just rolls to the end, and that's it. Pretty basic track, but not a lot to say in terms of it. If you like these kinds of videos, I'm still gonna do them, like, even if you don't, but if there's any specific track you would like me to talk about, then you can mention that in the comments section, and do give me feedback if there's anything you want to point out. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.